They have humanitarian aid that they want to directly deliver to the people of Gaza, okay, while they are being by the Israeli state. What are Americans worried about? Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not a significant attempt by the administration to quash any sort of political dissent, to try and force the FCC, or to try and get the FCC to force these corporations to stop running Jimmy Kimmel because of the Republican distaste for Jimmy Kimmel's commentary. Anyway, moving on from this, we are going to talk about Italy, which experienced a general strike 2 days ago, where every single union, or many unions in the country, including, most importantly, the dock workers union, came out and said that they were going to do a mass action, mass mobilization, and a general strike because of the administration's inability to address Israel's unlimited violence. They had also presented in the past that they would stop all of the actions in the ports, stop all commerce altogether if the flotilla, which also had some of their rank and file members on it, the Gaza humanitarian flotilla that I covered yesterday that was shot at by Israeli drone strikes, if they were harmed, if they were stopped, that they would shut off the Italian ports. They would stop commerce altogether. Okay? An expression of solidarity, another recognition for Americans as to why labor union power matters. Okay? And it turns out this actually worked, because while some people have said that it's not true that Italy is actually sending a naval vessel to protect the Gaza flotilla, it seems as though the Spanish government has said they are going to do so. They're going to send their own vessel as well. But let's see. Italy's Unione Sindacale di Base, the rank and file union, has announced a permanent mobilization in 100 squares across the country in solidarity with the global Samud flotilla. In Rome, the protest will begin Friday in Piazzi di Cinquecento. Did I say that right? I don't know. Following the attacks yesterday involving drones and 12 explosions on 9 different flotilla ships carrying humanitarian aid for Gaza, USB warned that if authorities try again to stop the flotilla, the response will be immediate. General strike without notice. Cinquecento. Okay. USB is one of Italy's largest independent unions, with tens of thousands of members concentrated in the public sector, logistics, transport, healthcare, and precarious or temporary work. Founded in 2010, it is known for its militant politics, strongly anti-austerity, anti-NATO, and anti-war. It has led strikes against privatization, labor precarity, and international wars. On the 22nd of December, USB led Gaza solidarity strikes that shut down ports and transport hubs across Italy. Its new call raises the stakes. Organized labor is now threatening nationwide walkouts to defend the flotilla's right to sail. Amazing. This is why organizations matter. This is why labor organizing matters. Okay? Now, the Spanish government is also taking note. Tomorrow, a maritime action ship will set sail from Cartagena, equipped in case it is necessary to assist the flotilla or carry out some type of rescue. It is, I will say, it does give me a sense of shame to see what our corporate captured labor unions are doing in the face of this kind of in the face of this kind of labor action that is an absolute necessity. Like I've said before, the people united will never be defeated. Okay, there are more of us than they are of them. Okay, this guy said they're just Hamas. What do real Italians think? Okay, this is a 29-month subscriber. Good one. Yeah. The entire rank and file of like one of Italy's largest labor unions is actually Hamas. They're all Hamas as well. Macron under pressure from his rival Mélenchon to stand up for the security of the flotilla in Gaza. Italy is stepping in to protect the flotilla threatened by the army. What is France doing? 4 of whose deputies are on board to break the Gaza blockade. Who is Macron afraid of? Jean-Luc Mélenchon, my goat, says the truth once again. This kind of domestic pressure is exactly what matters right now, by the way. I wish that we had some kind of opposition party in the United States of America that could constantly shit on Donald Trump in a similar vein, even for pure partisan politics. But of course, we don't have that here in this goddamn country because everyone is stupid and cowardly. Oh, let's take a look.
Defense Minister says a Navy frigate has been sent to assist a flotilla carrying aid to Gaza. The flotilla is reported to have come under drone attack off the coast of Crete. The people on board posted this on social media. The global Samud flotilla said more than a dozen explosions were heard around the flotilla as it sailed off Greece late on Tuesday, with damage caused by unidentified objects dropped on deck. Some of those on board recorded messages. Here's one of them.
We just heard another attack right now. We know of 5 vessels that have been attacked by you can clearly hear it, and again another was released. We do not know which vessel it is at this very moment. Raise the alarm. We are in international waters carrying only humanitarian aid. We have no weapons. We pose no threat to anyone.
The Greek Coast Guard says a European Union Borders Agency patrolled the vessel and saw no evidence of damage. But let's speak now to Dr. James Smith, a British A&E doctor who, as part of the flotilla crew, had to return back to the UK.
Like, think about, dude, look at the discontent and the action that these countries are taking right now. And then look at what we are predisposed with in the United States of America. They recognize what Israel is doing. They are demonstrating against Israel. And they're demonstrating to protect people who are taking action against Israel. Meanwhile, here in the United States of America, even though there are American citizens on those humanitarian aid ships that are seeking to go through the Israeli blockade, the unjustifiable Israeli blockade, okay, they have journalists on those ships as well. They have humanitarian aid that they want to directly deliver to the people of Gaza, okay, while they are being by the Israeli state. What are Americans worried about? Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not a significant attempt by the administration to quash any sort of political dissent, to try and force the FCC, or to try and get the FCC to force these corporations to stop running Jimmy Kimmel because of the Republican distaste for Jimmy Kimmel's commentary. Okay, that is significant. It's a significant erosion of the First Amendment. But make no mistake, we are still busy with silly shit. Okay, we're still busy with silly shit. We're still busy with silly shit in a country that is perhaps most responsible for Israel's continued. It's our money that is going over there to kill those children. It's our tax dollars. It's the weapons that we develop and design that Israel is using on the population. I'm with you, dog, but you were on Kimmel for 3 days also. Man, that's the reason why I was on it, is because any kind of encroachment against the First Amendment is a obvious problem. Do you not understand? That's why I'm saying it's not insignificant. It is not insignificant that Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air due to direct pressure and threats by the FCC. That is still an erosion of American liberties. Okay? And even then, what did I say? I kept bringing the conversation back to the other attempts by the administration to successfully undermine free speech from the point of immigrant enforcement. To come to me and act as though I do not recognize this reality is so stupid. Jesus Christ. I mean, here it is. In the aftermath of the Jimmy Kimmel situation, I said, Jimmy Kimmel's return to air is a step in the right direction. It is a reminder that Trump and his policies around stopping political dissent is not as popular as this website would have you believe. People must also extend this enthusiasm and fervor to protecting pro-Palestinian advocacy. To accuse me of dropping the ball on pro-Palestinian advocacy is so stupid when you clearly don't understand that a big part of the reason why an administration that comes after Jimmy Kimmel for, like, you know, tepid ass takes about the administration are clearly going to destroy my opportunity to speak out against Israel. I understand that reality. I'm surprised that you guys don't.
UK, but is, I understand, still in contact with colleagues aboard the ship. James, good to see you. What have they told you? What's been happening?
So, Lucy, last night, a series of what appear to be coordinated attacks, I believe now 15 attacks on the flotilla. The flotilla now comprises about 40 vessels, most of which are small sailboats, 2 slightly larger motorboats, all of which, as you just heard from that clip, are carrying humanitarian aid, water, food, medicine. I myself was with the flotilla for about 2.5 weeks. I was on several of these boats, and I can attest to exactly that. These boats are crewed by regular folks from the world over, lawyers, doctors, nurses, teachers, and so on. What we know about what happened last night, so we were still trying to get to the bottom of exactly what was used against the boats, but a series of quadcopters were flying very close to the boats and dropped onto several vessels what looked like flashbangs, very loud noise, very bright light, often used to disorientate and to intimidate. And then, of course, the communications line was jammed. The VHF radio, which is used for emergency communications, started playing music by the Swedish band ABBA. We believe that this might well be due to the peculiar fixation of the Israeli state on the participation of Swedish national Greta Thunberg.
Given that the
Is not an attack on you if organizing is such a big problem for the left in the U.S.? Couldn't someone with such a large platform following like yours help organize blackout or strikes or other means of organizing the fight back? It's not an attack on me. It's an attack on, I guess, your inability to understand the logistics of planning something like this, a mass demonstration like this. Okay? You have to use the pre-existing organizations. Stop lying. Should I get nuggets or strips from Chick-fil-A? I'm super hungry. Stop lying. Invisible Mirror, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. Labor union collective action needs to be conducted at the union level. 41,000 people, if we all decided to collectively not go to work tomorrow, this would not actually change the dynamic at all, because there is no like organizing body that puts it together. It's like Reddit day, people try to fucking pretend to put together, are all inconsequential. Unions have to do it. There's nothing you can do. At most, what you can do is basically try to engage in like mass protest or something. Yeah, that's just 41,000 companies that have one employee not showing up for a day. And people are going to be like, why didn't he show up? I don't know. Agreed, you can't go out and call for a general strike, but as an activist, I constantly see the need for new structures. Are the established ones that are stagnant and concerned about contracts? This is only something that you can do from within. If you're a rank and file member, if you're already a part of union organizing, you can approach your union to demonstrate, to take action. Otherwise, it's just a sick day. That's not how this works.
The amount of aid on board the flotilla is so small when the scale.
But 10% of the U.S. workforce in a union, they aren't an institution of power, is just fucking, isn't that just dogmatic Marxist cope? That is just so wrong. One singular sector, one singular union, the longshoremen's union could literally destroy the American economy. The Teamsters could completely shut down all logistics in this country. You are wrong. It doesn't have to be all unions. One union could completely shut down the economy. One union. Are you kidding me? That's the reason why it's illegal for many of these unions to even engage in work stoppages. It is the only power that they have. Work stoppage is the only power that a labor union has to make the companies meet their very reasonable fucking demands. Even the mere threat of a work stoppage is enough for the administration to come in and be like, we gotta listen to what they're saying. We can't have this happen. That is the reason why America has so many anti-union provisions, anti-labor provisions in their own rules, in their rule book. Yeah, a lot of U.S. unions can't strike without breaking contract. The UPS union is one of them. I used to work for it. I know. That is the principle of solidarity, however, that it doesn't matter. If a labor union takes this action and they have enough runway to protect their rank and file, this is why strike funds are important, okay? This is why they have a legal team. This is why they have strike funds. If rank and file get together and basically starve out the capital owners for an extended period of time, their interest in generating profits is going to inevitably kick in and force them to meet the demands of the labor union.
Need is so large, James. What was your motivation for being on board, for being part of the flotilla?
We're all unemployed. He doesn't need to worry about union. Wait, what? We can do it with this community. Let's do something similar with your community. Oh, this is one of the unfortunate consequences of having children in this audience, as well as adults that are union members in this audience.
Look, I mean, I don't think that anyone on the flotilla feels that the amount of aid will make a significant dent on the material conditions. This is a population.
Like when you say, what about right to work days? It doesn't matter. They can't, the whole point is they can't fire everybody, okay? And even if they did, the process of rehiring and retraining would be so unimaginably costly. These are all calculations that the capital owners have to make. What are we doing? That's why historically, this is how initiatives have taken place. That's why historically changes have been made in exactly this way.
Of more than 2.1 million Palestinians who are being subjected to genocide. The focus of the flotilla is not only to bring aid, but to draw attention to Israel's atrocities in Gaza, Israel's flagrant breaches of international law, and the failure of what's left of the international community to uphold its collective legal, political, and moral obligations. We know that direct action flourishes where political and legal systems fail to uphold the most basic values, the most foundational commitment to human rights. And the flotilla is doing what states have refused to do. Israel is perpetrating genocide against.
How dare you? Strips are way better. Didn't unions get disbanded back in 1950 during railroad strikes? Why did you dodge my question about the choice? Hasanabi Dodge, you didn't answer my question. Oh my God, shut the fuck up about chicken strips, man. Jesus Christ. Lock in, chatters. Lock in.
And it is incumbent upon all states, per the terms of the Genocide Convention, to act to break Israel's illegal siege. And really, that's the primary focus of the flotilla, to continue to draw attention to what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people in Gaza.
And James, in terms of your job as an A&E doctor, we have been hearing from 2 Australian doctors, surgeons who are working in Al-Shifa. They are barely functioning there. They describe just horrific conditions that they're having to operate in. And of course, so much of the rest of the infrastructure within Gaza has collapsed as well. I know that you've worked inside Gaza. I mean, what are you hearing from other colleagues who are in there at the moment?
Much the same as what you've just described. I mean, the situation in Gaza deteriorates day on day. Israeli forces have invaded Gaza City, where there was still some functioning healthcare facilities, some bed capacity. The Israeli tanks are now very close to Al-Shifa hospital. People, of course, being forced to flee towards the south. In the last couple of days, PMRS clinics have been repeatedly targeted.
They're not going to hit the but Hamas line. No, at this stage, if you haven't noticed, mainstream outlets are also responsive to the quite reasonable demands being made by the public. And I said this a while back. Mainstream media basically follows like this broadcast, but 6 months later. So if you see something that I cover, and when it comes to like broader recognitions as far as like the genocide, they're 2 years too late, right? But for a lot of things, for a lot of issues, like they initially thought that they could just like hide the anger and resentment that the public was experiencing and the demonstrations, and they thought they could consistently contextualize Israel's violence, and they kept that up for quite a while. But at a certain point, they have a higher priority of maintaining at least a shred of legitimacy, a shred of credibility. So if you got hundreds of thousands of people in the fucking streets being like, this is a genocide, we have to stop it, and they're just like, this is not a genocide, and there's no reason to stop it, you are all Hamas, then no one is going to look at mainstream outlets ever again. And as a matter of fact, they've already eroded what remains of their credibility. But the tonal shift coming now is a consequence of all of the public pressure. Okay? That's it. That's because it's gotten to a point where the majority everywhere in the Western world has realized that this is a genocide, it's unacceptable, and we have to do everything in our power to stop it. So they have to literally say it's a genocide. I mean, look no further than the New York Times, right? When the New York Times wrote that silly article about me in the style section about how I was accusing Israel of, in air quotes, a genocide, that was a couple months ago, right? Now the New York Times allows me to write a fucking op-ed where I say Israel is doing a genocide, and they hyperlink it to another New York Times op-ed from a Holocaust scholar, a Jewish Israeli Holocaust scholar, who is also calling it a genocide. So, like, the permission structure has expanded. It's no longer an accusation. It's now the objective reality. Maybe there's still a difference in opinion on this stuff, but that means that 6 months down the line, they are going to also, once the Overton window is shifted in the direction of truth even further, they will then say, these guys are actually denying the Holocaust. These guys are actually denying the genocide. We're not there yet. And obviously, it's totally understandable and totally reasonable for people to say too little, too late. But I still see value in continuing to push these institutions that still have a lot of credibility among people who have a lot of power, for example, a lot of executives, a lot of older people, to change their tone. Because I recognize that every single person is necessary in this fight, because it's obvious that these guys are not going to change. These guys are not going to turn around and do this out of the kindness of their fucking hearts. They're not going to do it. And if this administration in the United States of America didn't recognize that this was a deeply unpopular issue, they wouldn't be doing stuff like this. Trump will sign executive order on domestic terrorism networks. They're doing this because their agenda is unpopular. A strong administration that has this broad popular mandate would see no need to stamp out discontent. They'd just be like, all right, shut up. Keep chirping into the fucking wind, stupid. Nobody cares. We're doing the wishes of the popular. We're abiding by the wishes of the Democratic majority. Do you understand? It is only in your weakest moments do you engage in this kind of like fascist formation. This is not a time to stop. It's actually a time to keep pushing.
The Palestine Medical Relief Society, ongoing attacks on Palestinian healthcare and humanitarian workers, and of course on the entire population of Gaza, and still no tangible action from the
sailing in international waters. Again, the flotilla comes under attack by drones.
There was another one, yeah.
We just experienced a fifth attack. We need to assess which boat was that. They're likely throwing flashbangs at our boats. It's very, very important that we stay on alert. Right now we are in a moment of full drone alert. We need to pressure the world for these attacks to stop.
In addition to physical attacks, the boats also faced electronic warfare.
And right now they're jamming our VHF, as you can hear. We do not know where this is coming from, the sound, but other vessels are experiencing the same thing. They're jamming our radio.
As news broke, people tried to contact their governments for help.
Israel just attacked United States military veterans on the global Samud flotilla. I need the U.S. Department of State to call Israel and tell them not to bomb U.S. veterans.
As the sun rose, Al Jazeera's Hassan Masood confirmed the details.
The fleet's ships were subjected to at least 13 attacks, during which repeated explosions were heard, targeting 11 of its ships.
Human rights activists heading to Gaza say they're undeterred.
Global Smooth Flotilla, a peaceful, legal humanitarian mission, was targeted with more than 10 attacks. From the night prayers till dawn, these drones kept circling above us. This is psychological war to scare us and stop us from going to Gaza. We are not afraid, and we are determined. We will stand against this genocide.
Earlier this week, a U.S. envoy confirmed in an interview for the first time that Israel was behind one of the initial attacks on the flotilla in Tunisia.
Israel is attacking everybody. So if Israel is attacking Syria, Israel is attacking Lebanon, Israel is attacking Tunisia.
And as Israel's attacks continue, yet another appeal from the boats for accountability and assistance.
From an Irish perspective, I speak directly to the Irish establishment class, the media and political class right now. If anything happens to me or any of the other 21 Irish participants on this flotilla, we hold you responsible. I think I speak for everyone on this flotilla. We don't want to die. We don't want to be murdered.
In the last week, Greek protesters have called on their government to cut ties with Israel. In Italy, thousands went on strike in a show of solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza.
I'm telling you, man, they can't keep this up. It's going to get to a point where they have to make another consideration. They have to recalculate. Do we just erode all notion of liberal democracy and recognize that we are a fascist authoritarian government? And this is the same for every single country. Or do we actually listen to the totally reasonable and totally just demands being made by the majority population? This is why I keep repeating over and over again. This is the strongest we have ever been. Okay? This is the strongest we have ever been. That is precisely the reason why these governments are trying to actively make people fearful of demonstrating. Okay? I hear you, but despite this, it keeps happening. Okay, but it doesn't matter because a year ago, you would have never expected actual European countries to not only recognize the state of Palestine, which is, again, conditional, it's symbolic, it's bullshit for the most part, but also simultaneously fucking send naval vessels to protect a mass mobilization of humanitarian workers that are trying to cut through the unjustifiable Israeli blockade at a time when they're continuing to do genocide to the Palestinian population. That didn't happen out of nowhere. It takes time. I totally understand that as human beings, okay, we have a finite amount of time on this earth, and therefore we have a very narrow understanding of what it takes for change to be implemented. But these things do have the capacity to move very fast, and it's happening in ways that I even did not foresee. It's happening faster than I thought it was going to happen. You have to have patience in the face of unimaginable cruelty. There is no other way, okay? There is no fucking other way. Israel has already lost the battle as far as global recognition. It will never be seen as anything but a pariah state ever again. As I kept repeating over and over again, especially over the course of the past couple of months, I said, this is the most popular Israel will be today. And tomorrow, Israel will be even less popular. Okay? And the day after, it will be even less popular. And as long as discontent keeps growing, as long as people realize that this is unjustifiable, that they stay strong, they stay resilient, and they have to for the people, for the sake of the people of Palestine, for those who have been martyred, to honor them, and for those who are still alive, to make sure that their lives are preserved. You have to keep doing this. For many of you, you have only recognized the cruelty of the Israeli state after October 7. So for you, you look at this and you don't understand what things used to look like a decade prior. You have no understanding of that. So for you, you're like, what the fuck's going on? I totally understand why you feel the way that you do. But if you were around for the past 10, 20 years and you recognize this reality 10, 20 years ago, this is completely unprecedented. This level of mass mobilization internationally is completely unprecedented. It's directly cutting through the multi-billion-dollar lobbying and influence peddling network that Israel has designed with no pushback whatsoever over the course of the past 80 years. You have to keep doing this, but I will sit at my elitist desk and talk about it. That's really funny that you're saying that, because I don't just sit at my elitist desk and talk about it. I fucking go outside and I go and talk at fucking rallies too. Not that it makes a difference for you, because you don't know that. Or even if you did, you just want to still present this as me just sitting at my fucking desk. Never seen you at one? Oh, so it must not exist. Are you a baby? Do you have no object permanence? You do realize that this means that you're an idiot, right? I am a baby. I can tell. I've only seen you at your desk on clips, so you must not have done more.
Calling for arms shipments to Israel to be stopped. Even in Israel, some activists marched towards the Israel-Gaza border, calling for an end to the siege. Their signs read, "By land and the sea, break the siege," and "Hands off the Samud flotilla." A sentiment that's growing around the world among people who feel their governments are complicit in the genocide. Sama bin Javed, Al Jazeera.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. So
that's where